We have the pleasure and honor to have with us the coaches of the 4 teams that will take place, that will play against each other on this second day of the quarterfinals on Thursday. So without further ado, I will introduce them. From my left, Mr. Oren Omiel, the head coach of ERA Nymburk. Next to him, Mr. Elias Papatheodorou, the head coach of AEK. On the other side of the trophy, Diego Campo, the head coach of Casademont Zaragoza. And last but not least, Mr. Chus Vidoreta, the head coach of Iberostar Tenerife. Gentlemen, welcome to Athens. Thank you very much for being here. I would like, first of all, to ask you to make an opening statement, each one of you. Mr. Amiel, can you tell us a little bit about your arrival in Athens and your expectations from this event?
Okay, first of all, hello to everybody. I think basically it's a great event, and it's first time for this club to participate in such an event. So we are very excited, and we are really looking forward to do our best here.
Thank you. Mr. Papatheodorou, head coach of Athens, can I please ask you also to make an opening statement? Well, you didn't have to arrive in Athens, obviously you're here already, but it's a bit different feeling because you are the nominal host of the event, but there's no fans. Can you give us your initial thoughts about the Final 8 as we're about to start the competition?
Mm-hmm. So, hello to everybody. We are very excited to be here. Of course, I would like to congratulate the BCL to give us the opportunity to finish the previous season on the court. And of course, it's a good opportunity for us to make a good performances and to win the trophy.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ocampo, head coach of Casademont Zaragoza. Welcome to Athens. Can I please ask you for an opening statement regarding your arrival, the arrival of your team here in Athens, and what are your expectations for this event?
Good morning, everybody. We are very happy to be here. We are excited to be here because it's the first time that Casademont Zaragoza can play a Final 8. We know the difficulty that we have to play against Tenerife and this high-level tournament, but we are here. We're going to dream and we want to play as well as we can.
Thank you. Mr. Vidoreta, can I please ask you for your opening statement as well? You are very experienced at this type of events. Can you tell us a little bit about your arrival to Athens and your expectations heading into this tournament?
Well, we have today to recover. Now we are tired and without baggage, but for us it's also very important to be here. It's our third Final 4, Final 8, but we are here with the same illusion than the first one. And okay, we are finishing a season, or finishing starting. Then it's totally different than in other seasons, and for everybody it's a bet. No? It's a great moment when you start seasons fighting for titles.
Thank you very much. Now, before we open the floor to questions from the accredited media, which of course they're not physically present in the room, but there were a lot of questions from all over Europe through our chat group. I would like to take this opportunity to ask a question from each of our coaches here. Mr. Amiel, yesterday, I believe, before your departure from Prague, you said something to the Czech press. You said that I will never bet against my team, despite all the changes that you had to the roster in the summer. Why? What makes you so confident that this team can win any opponent?
Look, it's not about confidence. It's about trusting your process and what you're doing. We respect all the teams here, and I think we did enough so everybody can also needs to respect us. Basically, we're going to face talentless team, like endless talent team, and obviously all the odds against us. But in the end of the day, we feel like we play 5 against 5. Everybody got 2 hands and 2 legs, and we will try to fight and do our best. So at least we can look in the mirror in the end of the game and we know that we did our best and can sleep safe, you know. So that's what I meant. It's not like coming from anything else.
Thank you. Mr. Papatheodorou, when AEK officially, under this very strange circumstances that we're living today. When your club offered to host the event, the initial idea, of course, was to have fans in the stands. It turns out we're not going to be able to have this. Are you a bit concerned that maybe you're still considered the favorite, the home team, despite the fact that you won't have the support of your amazing fans?
Listen, for us, it's very important, and we understand the press, especially from our fans. But from the other side, here is the best teams in previous season in BCL. Very good teams, very good coaches, great organizations. And we know and we respect everyone. Tomorrow we play against one of the best teams in previous year, Nymburk. They play great basketball. They have very good coach. They know how to play the game. They have great ideas, defensively and offensively. We have to follow just our plan, to be calm and to be tough, especially mentality tough.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Ocampo, obviously, unlike your colleagues here, you're new to your club because you took over the reins of Zaragoza in the summer. And I remember your presentation when you were presented by the club. You spoke about the challenge of playing in the Final Eight. You were looking forward to it. Can you tell us a little bit about what was your approach? Did you approach this as let's continue to do some of the things that worked out last season, or let's approach this with a completely fresh eye?
It's true. We have 8 players that they were playing from the last season, and it is very good for us. We have a new coach. I would like to appreciate the players and the coach that they are not here, because it's a special situation, a weird situation, because we are finishing a season and we start another season. And then I like the club and like coach, I want to say thanks. And especially 2 players that they got injured. They are part of the team. They are not here because they are injured and this COVID situation cannot permit. And then really I appreciate this effort and they are part of this team. On the other hand, I think that like a coach you have to adapt to the players that you have. And then our players, they have energy, they want to run, they want to play proactive. And then like coach, I want to use this to help them to play better in these situations. It's true that I have my mentality, but it's not a question to boom, everything suddenly here for the team. We are adapting. I know the difficulty that we have the tournament and play against Tenerife, but we are happy how we are improving, working, and competing.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Vidoreta, I think a lot of us thought that you have seen everything in the BCL. There is nothing you have not seen, but you will also live a new experience in this Final Eight. You will have to play for the title in a final tournament without any fans. Do you think that you have to prepare your players in a special way, in a way that you will not do in a normal Final Four, for example, because there is no fans and the atmosphere is going to be different?
Well, probably in this situation we have an advantage, not Tenerife, Spanish teams, no? Because we finished last season without fans, and we start this one, play in the BCL playoff, the Supercopa, 3 games in the league. Then we have now more, for example, Iberostar Tenerife have now more than 10 games without fans. And we know that the basketball probably is changed a little bit for a few time, I expect. But in the most important questions, never change. Both teams play with aggressiveness every game, with the same spirit, and I think that the basketball on the court is really 90% the same.
Thank you. So now we'll open the floor to the questions we have received through our chat group. Our colleague here, Igor Tsurkovic, has some questions. Igor.
First of all, welcome to Athens, all of you. Best of luck at the tournament. We're going to start with you, Coach Amiel. You just won the Coach of the Season award. Your thoughts on the award? And the second one is kind of connected to what you said before about AEK being a club with a lot of talent. So if you had the opportunity to lock one of their players up in a locker room before the game, which player would it be?
For this, I need to use the Israeli Jets, but For the first question, there is a great quote. It said, "Character manifested in the great moments, but it's made on the small ones." And I think this award is appreciation for what we are doing, all the hours in the office and on the court, sacrifice without the families, and of course this recognition cannot. It's not belong only to you. It's a lot of people behind you, especially my staff, my assistant coaches, families behind us, the players, of course, organization, and our supporters. And when it comes from your colleagues, so it's even bigger. And I really appreciate it, and I want to thank all the colleagues that vote, and hopefully continue with the hard work.
Thank you, Coach. Let me just briefly translate to Greek your answer. The coach said that you build. Ο coach είπε ότι χτίζεις χαρακτήρα ο χαρακτήρας φαίνεται στις μεγάλες στιγμές, αλλά τον έχεις χτίσει στις μικρές στιγμές και ότι θα Sorry, please go on, Igor.
Okay, Coach Papatheodorou, here's the question for you. Nymburk was the best defensive team of the BCL. They allowed 95.5% points per 100 possessions. On the other hand, AEK has a lot of offensive firepower. So what do you think will decide the game, their defense or your offense?
Both of that. It's very important to control generally the game, the tempo of the game. We have very experienced and talented players, but the talent is not enough, especially in this time, in this competition. Everybody had a short period to prepare the teams. It's a totally different games than the regular season. That's why we must to protect, of course, the pain, to have to be mentally ready. It's very important to control the tempo. And of course, to play against one of the best defensive teams. They have specific rules in their defense, and we try and we must to be ready about this.
Let me translate just briefly. Ο coach είπε ότι τόσο η άμυνα και η επίθεση θα αποφασίσουν το παιχνίδι. Η ερώτηση ήταν γιατί η Nymburk ήταν η καλύτερη αμυντική ομάδα στην κανονική περίοδο. Για την ΑΕΚ θα είναι σημαντικό να προσέξει και τις δύο μεριές του γηπέδου, να κοντρολάρει το tempo του παιχνιδιού, να κλείσει τη ρακέτα και από εκεί μετά. Right, coach?
Okay, so this next one is for both of Coach Ocampo and Coach Vidoreta. Have you prepared the new strategic aspects that were not shown on the opening day in Liga Endesa? Of course, we don't expect you to say we're going to do this, but were there any secrets in that first matchup of the season?
We think it's completely different this tournament. It's completely... we play a tight game, a very hard game with a lot of up and downs because we are starting and it's normal that the thing happens. And now I think that the question is the balance and the capacity to adapt the new situation, to adapt the game, how it's going. And then this is the question. This is when you play a Final 8, it's a mental Final 8. It's physical too because we are playing a lot of games in a row, 3 games in the ECB, and right now we are here. But the question is the mentality that you have to compete and to adapt to the rival.
Thank you. So the coach, the question was, η ερώτηση ήταν εάν, επειδή οι δύο ομάδες γνωρίζονται από την Ισπανική Λίγα, η ερώτηση ήταν αν θα χρειαστεί να αλλάξουν κάτι, αν μπορεί να αλλάξει κάτι. Και ο coach απάντησε ότι ουσιαστικά πάντα πρέπει να κάνεις προσαρμογές και πολλά θα εξαρτηθούν από το βαθμό της προσαρμογής που θα έχουν και οι δύο ομάδες στο αυριανό παιχνίδι.
Even before this game, okay? Even before the game, we played last season with very similar teams. Then I think that we start from zero, okay? No, nothing to do with the 10 days before game. Now only 9 or 8, I don't know. We have 3 more.
Ο coach Vidoreta είπε ότι συμφωνεί με τον συνάδελφό του γιατί είναι ουσιαστικά μια καινούργια, μια διαφορετική διοργάνωση, διαφορετικό παιχνίδι Και όσο και καλά και να γνωρίζετε την ομάδα, πάντα πρέπει να γίνονται προσαρμογές και αλλαγές.
Going back to Coach Amiel, is the game, the round of 16 game that you played against TAG 2 years ago, is it somewhere in the back of your mind ahead of this game? Does it feel like an extra motivation for you guys?
You come with the guns today. I see. Okay. Different teams. Obviously, we face AEK so many times the last, but it's different coach, different players. I don't think we can look at this like this. You know, it's one game. We always look forward, never look back.
Ο coach είπε ότι πάντα κοιτάμε μπροστά, δεν κοιτάμε πίσω. Είναι διαφορετική χρονιά, διαφορετική διοργάνωση. Και βέβαια επισήμανε ότι είναι μια δύσκολη ερώτηση, αλλά δεν διστάζει να απαντήσει με αυτόν τον τρόπο. Igor.
There were a lot of questions for Coach Papatheodoru in Greek, so
Yes.
you can go ahead and ask one.
We have a question for Coach Papatheodoru in Greek, which I will, if you don't mind, Coach, I will translate in Greek, in English, sorry. So the question is from Giorgos Petridis on Sport FM, and he says, your team is coming off 2 losses at the Greek Super Cup. So what do you think you need to change or improve from those 2 games in order to be able to go all the way at the final 8?
Okay. As I told you before, we have a short period to improve in general the teams. We forgot what happened last week. All these days we have in our mind how to play against Nymburk. We try to improve details about our game, defensively and offensively, and we will see tomorrow the result.
Πολύ συνοπτικά, ο coach είπε ότι είχαμε πολύ μικρό χρόνο προετοιμασίας, γιατί ουσιαστικά είναι η αρχή της σεζόν. Έχουμε προσπαθήσει να διορθώσουμε κάποιες λεπτομέρειες και το αποτέλεσμα θα το δούμε αύριο στο γήπεδο. Let me ask a question also for Diego Campo. This question comes from José Ramón Alba Bello. In Spanish, José Ramón is asking, you are replacing Porfirio Fisac after the team had a great season, and you have a big challenge in front of you right at the start of the season. So he's asking, ¿cómo afronta este reto?
So very happy because it's a challenge for me. It's a challenge to be a coach of Zaragoza after a good season, a very good season, and then we have a lot of players with experience and talent, and it's a challenge as a person and as a coach, and we have another chance right now. And we start the HCB, very hard games with a lot of hard games, and now we are here to compete against one of the best of teams of HCB and the BCL. And then in a war, it's a challenge for me, but not only like coach, like person too.
Ο coach είπε ότι είναι μια ευχάριστη πρόκληση για αυτό να ξεκινήσει τη θητεία του στη Θαραγώθα με αυτό το μεγάλο event. Έχουν ήδη παίξει 3 σκληρά παιχνίδια στην Ισπανική Λίγκα και ανυπομονεί να συνεχίσουν με αυτή τη μεγάλη πρόκληση που είναι για αυτόν και την ομάδα, για τη νέα ομάδα του, το Final 8.
Coach Fidoretta, this question is actually for the team of Tenerife. So basically, Tenerife won the competition in its first edition and is the current runner-up because you lost the final last season. You had a great start in the Spanish league, you're undefeated. Do all of these factors make you like the prime favorites to win this?
Prime favorites?
Yeah, like the biggest favorites to win the competition, Tenerife.
I think that there are many teams that probably have the same condition or even better. The first one, Zaragoza. If we don't beat them tomorrow, there is not favorite with Tenerife. Then for me now in this moment is the next game and not the tournament. As Diego said before, last week we were in a tour for Spain, okay, in one of the top cities of the universe, Bilbao, but also many others. Also many others. And now to come here, we make in a bad moment a tour between the main cities of Europe, Madrid, Paris, Athens. Then We will see about the favorite, and my job now is to try to win to Zaragoza tomorrow, no other thing.
I think, Coach, this is your chance to explain why Bilbao is one of the top cities in Europe, as you said, because many
No, it's
people...
top cities in the universe. Bilbao, okay, in the universe.
Η ερώτηση ήταν, ουσιαστικά η Τενερίφη είναι το μεγάλο φαβορί για αυτή τη διοργάνωση. Ο coach φυσικά πέριψε αυτόν τον ισχυρισμό, είπε ότι δεν είναι η ομάδα του το μεγάλο φαβορί και ουσιαστικά ήδη από αύριο, ήδη από την Πέμπτη που παίζει στο προημιτελικό με τη Θαραγώθα, μια άλλη μεγάλη ομάδα, οι πιθανότητες είναι ουσιαστικά μοιρασμένες. So Coach Ariel, let me ask you a question that a lot of people have asked us, and it's about what is your biggest challenge? Because obviously when the stoppage happened in March, you had the best defensive rating and so on, but you had to change a lot of players in the summer. So as a coach, is your approach to this that we have to adapt the new players to the way we did things before, or we have to see what the new players can offer and maybe make changes to the way we played up until March?
Okay, as you said, a lot of teams changed the rosters or have changes. We had some big changes. Obviously, we try to recruit the players that fit to our system. This is the first thing, and then we try to see how to use them the right way. I cannot tell you that every season we do the same thing. You need to improve and to change yourself according to the situation, although you have the roots and the principles that you trust and believe. So we'll have to wait and see.
Ο coach είπε ότι αν και είχαν ένα πολύ συγκεκριμένο αμυντικό πλάνο μέχρι το Μάρτιο και μάλιστα ήταν η καλύτερη αμυντική ομάδα της διοργάνωσης, προσπάθησαν να επιλέξουν παίκτες που να ταιριάζουν σε αυτό το στυλ παιχνιδιού, αλλά βέβαια δεν έχει και να εκμεταλλευτούν καλά του στοιχεία, αλλά βέβαια δεν έχει υπάρξει αρκετός χρόνος για να δουν προς το παρόν αν αυτό θα λειτουργήσει ή θα πρέπει να το δουν αύριο στο γήπεδο.
One question for Coach Papatheodorou. What's the status of Marcus Slaughter? Is he injured? Is he available? Will he play?
So Marcus, he had to play official game 20 days. But last 10 days he started practices. He will be with us, and we believe he will able to help us tomorrow.
We have a question for both Spanish coaches from Luis Noriega in Aragon TV, and Aragon TV would appreciate it if you could answer in Spanish. The first part of the question, ¿Es Tenerife favorito? I think Coach Vidoreta has already answered that. But the second part is, ¿cuál es la mayor virtud de su rival? First, Mr. Ocampo, if you want to answer in Spanish, and then I'll translate in English.
In Spanish and in English?
You can answer in Spanish.
I can do in both.
In Spanish, yes.
And gallego.
No, en castellano.
It's about Bilbao, but
No,
we
en
can talk
castellano,
about
por
the
favor.
northwest of the country too. And then, bueno, en español, yo creo que la mayor virtud que tiene el Tenerife es la experiencia y el talento de jugadores y entrenadores que saben lo que es competir en el máximo nivel y en este tipo de finales, tipo Copa del Rey, Campeonatos de Europa, ligas ACBs. Y luego el balance, el equilibrio que tiene entre jugadores generadores y jugadores finalizadores, así como entre el ataque y la defensa. In English, I think that Gran Canaria has a very good balance between offensively and defensively, offensive players, defensive players. They have experience to play very good basketball in those moments. And then I think that to break this balance, offense, defense, the players that they are able to generate and to finish is an important thing for us.
Thank you. Mr. Vidoreta, the same question. ¿Cuál es la mayor virtud de su rival? In English, what's the biggest virtue of your rival team?
Bueno, yo creo que el ritmo del juego, ¿no? Es un equipo que juega muy bien a campo abierto, que tiene grandes finalizadores en uno contra uno en todas las posiciones y que cualquiera de los jugadores que habitualmente compiten puede abrir el campo y tirar de tres con excepción de los pivots, ¿no? Creo que esa es su versatilidad y su ritmo son las cuestiones claves del básquet Zaragoza. Y te dejo que traduzcas tú.
If you want to answer in English as well. The same question? You wanted to answer in English as well, the same question?
No, traduce tú, joder. Si estás traduciendo al griego, joder, que se note.
Okay, so Coach Vidoreta said that probably the biggest virtue of Zaragoza is the way they play with the big men as well, and the ability to balance the inside-outside game. So we have a question for Oren Amiel. No? Sorry, a question for Coach Papatheodorou. Sorry for this. So the question is from Christos Chaltas, from sdna.gr. In Greek, τι είναι αυτό που περιμένετε να δείτε από τους παίκτες σας στο παιχνίδι με την Nymburk και πόσο επηρεάζει την ομάδα η απουσία του κόσμου από το γήπεδο. Very brief translation. What do you expect to see from your players on the court against Nymburk, and how influenced will your players be from the absence of the fans in the stands?
Στα ελληνικά πρέπει να απαντήσω.
Στα ελληνικά.
Ωραία. Είναι ξεκάθαρο για μας. Οι παίκτες μας και όλοι μας πρέπει να δώσουμε το 100%. Ο κόσμος περιμένει από εμάς να δει καλό μπάσκετ, αλλά πρώτα απ' όλα να δει μια ομάδα που θα μπει και θα δώσει το 100%. Αυτό είναι το βασικό μας. Αυτή είναι η βασική μας απέτηση από τους παίκτες μας. Να σεβαστούμε τη διοργάνωση. Έχουμε κάνει πολύ μεγάλη προσπάθεια την περσινή σεζόν για να φτάσουμε σε αυτό το σημείο και θέλουμε να δώσουμε τον καλύτερό μας εαυτό. Σίγουρα η απουσία του κόσμου, ειδικά ένα γεμάτο ΆΚΑ, έχει πολύ μεγάλη επίδραση και σε εμάς και στους αντιπάλους. Είναι πολύ διαφορετικό που το γήπεδο θα είναι άδειο χωρίς κόσμο, αλλά δεν έχουμε άλλη επιλογή. Πρέπει να προσαρμοστούμε όπως κάνουν και οι υπόλοιπες ομάδες.
So very briefly, the coach said that what he expects for tomorrow's game from his players is to give 100%, and obviously it makes a huge difference if the Oeke Stadium is not empty, they don't have their fans, but they have no choice, like every other team, but to adapt to the situation. So, we have an additional request from Aragon TV again, because they would like you to say in Spanish the part where you tell us which team is the favorite in tomorrow's game. So if you can please, Mr. Ocampo, reply in Spanish, in your opinion, which team is the favorite in tomorrow's game, you or Tenerife?
It's very difficult to know.
En castellano.
Es muy difícil de saber porque es una situación totalmente diferente. Si hubiese público, pues siempre se puede tener un cierto grado a favor, pero ahora mismo es muy difícil. Yo creo que todo es nuevo, la situación es nueva, todo lo anterior no vale, todo el futuro no vale, es la capacidad que tengan los equipos de jugar mañana y eso nadie lo sabe. Lo que sí sabemos es que hay que prepararse muy bien, física, táctica y mentalmente.
So Coach said it's very difficult to answer this question, which of the two Spanish teams is a favorite in tomorrow's game, because it's a completely new situation. There's no fans in the stands, and obviously it's a game like nothing they've played before between them. So he cannot really give a clear answer to this. Mr. Vidoreta, in Spanish, please, as well, if you can reply to this question from Aragon TV, ¿cuál de los dos equipos españoles es favorito mañana?
No, yo creo que ya he contestado, ¿no? Creo que la eliminatoria está al 50%. Nosotros no somos favoritos ni de cara al partido de mañana ni de cara a nada más que tratar de jugar mañana lo mejor posible. Y bueno, pues estamos 3-0 en la Liga CB, porque respondo de esa manera a la pregunta anterior, pero podríamos estar perfectamente 1-2, porque superiores solo hemos sido en Bilbao y a Zaragoza ganamos en prórroga, con lo cual pudo ganar cualquiera de los dos, y en Murcia ganamos anotando 43 puntos en el último cuarto, que es la única vez en la historia que se han anotado 43 puntos en el último cuarto. También, por lo tanto, todos estamos comenzando la competición y esta es seguramente la competición más abierta de la historia de la Liga, de la BCL.
So Coach Vidoreta replied that, as I said before, I insist again, there is no favorite. It's impossible to pick a favorite in this game, and especially in a direct knockout game where he mentioned the example of his team winning at Murcia and on Sunday, the Spanish League game, where they had to score 43 points in the last quarter to basically come from 24 points back and win the game. So he insists that it's impossible to predict these kind of things in this current situation with no fans in the stands. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us here today. This concludes the first part of the press conference. We will return in a few minutes with a representative player from each team. But Thank you to all the coaches. Best of luck to all 4 of you tomorrow's games, and thank you for your dedication and your professionalism during these difficult times. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning from Athens. Welcome to the second part of our interview for day 2 of the quarterfinals at the Basketball Champions League Final 8. We are very honored and pleased to have with us a representative from each of the 4 teams that will take to the court on Thursday in this quarterfinal classes, from which the final 2 semifinalists, of course, will emerge. On my left, we have with us era Nymburk captain Wojciech Hruban. Next to him is AEK captain Nikos Zisis. On the other side of the trophy there, very close to it, I would say, is Dylan Dennis from Casademont Zaragoza. And last but not least, Marcelinho Huertas from Iberostar Tenerife. Gentlemen, welcome to Athens, first of all. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to be at this press conference. It's a socially distanced press conference, so we have very limited people in the room, but we have probably tens of journalists asking questions on our chat group, which we will come to very briefly. But before we get to that, I would like to please ask each one of you for an opening statement, if you like, in English and then in your own language for your local journalists. Starting from you, Wojciech, what are your initial thoughts upon arriving in Athens, and what are your personal expectations and your team's expectations from this event?
Hello. We are very happy to be here because obviously this is the first time in a long time for a Czech team to be able to be in a competition like this. So our expectations are obviously we want to show up in a good light. We want to give ourselves a chance to show that we belong in here, and that this is not a last time that we can appear on a tournament like this.
If you want to say an opening statement in Czech as well, that's fine.
Chtěl jsem jenom říct, že jsme rádi, že na takovémhle turnaji můžeme být, že chceme ukázat, že tady patříme a že chceme předvést, že prostě v Čechách můžeme hrát dobrý basketbal.
Now, just let me briefly translate in Greek. Ο Wojciech είπε ότι είναι πολύ χαρούμενοι που βρίσκονται στην Αθήνα. Για το βασικό λόγο, ότι είναι η πρώτη φορά που θα έχουν την ευκαιρία να παλέψουν για το κύπελο της διοργάνωσης και θέλουν να δείξουν ότι ανήκουν εδώ, ότι έχουν ένα μέρος, το Nymburk ανήκει στις κορυφαίες ομάδες της διοργάνωσης. Nikos, you didn't have, of course, to go far to be here, but even for a player of your experience, this is going to be a new experience because you've never played such a big event in front of an empty stadium. Can you give us your opening thoughts, your first thoughts on the event and your expectations in both English and Greek, if you mind?
Yes. Hello to everybody. We are very excited to be here. We live in an unprecedented situation with COVID, so the fact that we are able to compete and play basketball and compete in a very high-level tournament, I believe it's a very big opportunity for all of us in the team. We will try to give our best. It feels nice to play this tournament at home in Athens, knowing that it would be, let's say, the perfect situation would be to play in front of our fans. But this is how the situation is right now. As I said, we are happy to be playing in Athens. We are happy that we are able to compete against very good teams for a high-level tournament, and our promise that we'll try to give our best and see each game one game at a time.
If you want to make an opening statement in Greek as well.
Είμαστε πολύ χαρούμενοι που βρισκόμαστε σε αυτό το τουρνουά. Θα προσπαθήσουμε να δώσουμε τον καλύτερο μας σε αυτό για να πετύχουμε τους στόχους μας. Πρώτα παίζουμε αύριο και θέλουμε να πάρουμε το κάθε παιχνίδι ξεχωριστά. Γνωρίζουμε ότι είναι μια ειδική συνθήκη να παίξουμε χωρίς κόσμο. Το ιδανικό για μας, είμαστε πολύ χαρούμενοι που παίζουμε στην Αθήνα, αλλά το ιδανικό για μας θα ήταν να παίξουμε μπροστά στον κόσμο μας. Παρ' όλα αυτά θα προσπαθήσουμε να δώσουμε τον καλύτερό μας σε αυτό για να κάνουμε όλο τον κόσμο της ΑΕΚ περήφανο.
Ευχαριστώ, Νίκο. Now, Dylan, I'm not going to ask you to make an opening statement in Spanish, unless you feel confident enough. But we would really like to hear your thoughts about your arrival in Athens And you've been long enough with the club now. Maybe you can speak a little bit about what this means for the club as well as for you being here at this event.
First and foremost, we're happy to be here. Obviously, it's our first time, which, is amazing to be a part of. We have a tough team to go up against in Tenerife. They have a lot of experience, and we just want to come out, play hard, and give ourselves the best chance to win. Being here is great. Our team is excited. We're ready to go. With the support of our fans back home, obviously they can't be here. I'm sure they would have flew out if they could. But with them pushing us and the organization, pushing us to win and do our best, that's all we could ask for. So, with everything going on in the world, it's a blessing to still be able to compete, still be able to travel with our team, and just enjoy the game of basketball. So we're happy to be here, and whatever happens, I think we're just grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you. Let me just briefly translate in Greek. Ο Dylan είπε ότι ξέρουν την Τενερίφε πολύ καλά, γιατί φυσικά είναι αντίπαλοι στο Ισπανικό πρωτάθλημα, αλλά πάνω απ' όλα είναι πολύ χαρούμενοι που είναι εδώ πέρα και με όλα αυτά που συμβαίνουν στον κόσμο σήμερα, θεωρεί προνόμιο και ευλογία να είναι σε θέση να παίξουν μπάσκετ, να μπορούν να ταξιδέψουν με την ομάδα και να είναι σε θέση να διεκδικήσουν ένα κύπελο. Και αν δεν υπάρχουν φίλαθλοι εδώ πέρα, τουλάχιστον ξέρουν ότι οι φίλαθλοι τους παρακολουθούν από τη Ζαραγώθα και τους ενθαρρύνουν έστω και από τη τηλεόραση. Marcelinho, we would love to hear your opening thoughts about your arrival in Athens. People don't know that your arrival in Athens was a bit adventurous, but I imagine you have to put this behind you and focus on tomorrow's game. What are your opening thoughts about the arrival here and the event itself?
Well, we don't have to think too much about our arrival here. I think we're just glad we're here. Like some of these guys mentioned, here to play basketball, and I mean we got here 2 days in advance, and we don't have our bags or anything, but you just got to keep focused. We can let things like this draw our attention and get us out of focus. We came here for a reason, and that's what we're here for. If we have to fight against all kinds of adversity we're going to face in the competition, much harder than this. So, we just have to keep our minds into the prize and be focused.
Thank you. If you want to make the same statement in Spanish.
Bueno, que la llegada aquí no ha sido la más fácil después del viaje largo de ayer, llegando aquí a las 2 de la mañana sin maletas, pero que eso no nos puede quitar el focus, que es llegar aquí y competir. Podemos encontrar las excusas que queramos, pero al final se trata de venir aquí y competir. No ha sido fácil llegar aquí y poder competir al baloncesto para estar quejándonos de una situación privilegiada que estamos viviendo. Así que pasar por encima de esto, y seguramente los contratiempos que vamos a tener dentro de la pista serán mucho más grandes, así que hay que estar metidos en lo que hay que estar.
Thank you. Ο Μαρσελίνιο είπε ότι αν και η άφηξή του στην Αθήνα ήταν πολύ περιπετειώδης, γιατί άλλαξαν 3 πτήσεις, χάθηκαν μερικές βαλίτσες κτλ. Παρ' όλα αυτά, όλες οι δυσκολίες είναι κομμάτι του παιχνιδιού, έχουν την εμπειρία, θα προσαρμοστούν και το βασικό είναι τώρα να ετοιμαστούν για το αυριανό παιχνίδι χωρίς να σκέφτονται την ταλαιπωρία του μακρινού ταξιδιού προς την Αθήνα. So, thank you very much, gentlemen. Now we'll open the floor to questions from the accredited media that have reached us through our chat group. Our colleague Igor Tsurkovic will be reading them out.
Welcome all of you. Best of luck at the tournament. We'll start with Wojtek. You guys won 31 games in a row, if I'm not mistaken, in all competitions. How do you make winning a habit? How does it go on for so long?
It's even for us, it's unprecedented. It's never been such a long stroke of wins, even for Nymburk. And with all due respect to Czech League, we had a little bit easier job than the rest of guys here had in their domestic leagues. So we more likely count only the BCL wins, so it's more important for us. But we had a good run. We had a team that was working together, that was coming all the game to play the game hard and never let down of their standards. So I think what most stood up was the level of consistency, which we showed up last year, and that's what brought us here, and that's what brought us these 31 wins to get in a row.
Η ερώτηση ήταν για το σερί εικόνα που είχε το Nymburk πέρυσι, μέχρι τη διακοπή. Είχε κερδίσει 31 σερί παιχνίδια σε όλες τις διοργανώσεις. Ο Βότιεχ απάντησε ότι με όλο το σεβασμό φυσικά προς το τσεχικό πρωτάθλημα είναι κάπως πιο εύκολο από τα υπόλοιπα. Οπότε οι νίκες στο BCL ήταν πιο σημαντικές από τις νίκες στο τσεχικό πρωτάθλημα. Αλλά και παρόλα αυτά είναι ένα εκπληκτικό σερί, 31 νίκες στη σειρά και σίγουρα δείχνει το επίπεδο της αφοσίωσης και της σκληρής δουλειάς που είχε αυτό το γκρουπ παιχτών που είχαν πέρυσι. Igor.
This one came in for Nikos. Does an empty gym play with players' minds during the game, especially in an important game? How a player as experienced as you can control that environment?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult for all the players to play in empty gyms. As I said in previous interview some days ago, I believe it's better to play even against, let's say, fans of the opposite team that can make you be more focused, even more motivated to win the game. But I think we had a small experience in Mars, playing some important games without fans, and also the very first games of this season. So, as I said before, I think we are very happy to be able to compete and play basketball in a high-level tournament. And we are not thinking about that we have no support or any fans, let's say, to cheer or be against us. That what we have to, what is in our mind is what we have to do to win a very important game against a very good team tomorrow.
Ο Νίκος βέβαια είπε πολύ συνοπτικά ότι φυσικά είναι πολύ ιδιαίτερες συνθήκες, γιατί είναι καλύτερο ακόμα και να παίξεις μπροστά σε φανς, σε οπαδούς της αντίπαλης ομάδας, από το να παίζεις μπροστά σε άδειες κερκίδες. Αλλά από εκεί και μετά έχουν ήδη μια μικρή εμπειρία, έχουν παίξει ήδη τώρα μερικά παιχνίδια χωρίς οπαδούς. Και από εκεί και πέρα το πιο σημαντικό είναι φυσικά να συγκεντρωθούν στο μεγάλο επίπεδο event αυτό που έχουν να παίξουν και να μην σκέφτονται αν υπάρχουν ή όχι οπαδοί δίπλα τους. Igor.
The next one is for Dylan. I'm basically going to try and translate it while I can. You became the face of the team, sort of like a leader on and off the court. You resigned with Zaragoza, stayed with the team. How do you embrace your new role? How do you feel like a leader in the locker room and outside the locker room, especially in social media?
Well, as far as being a leader, it's a team effort. Rodrigo, he's a guy I look up to as far as leadership. He's played everywhere around Europe, and he knows how to connect with guys. And I'm just here to help him with that. As far as being an on-the-court leader, it's not just me. It's a team effort. I'm just there to give everything I can, whether that's encouraging guys, keeping everybody on the same page. But with our team, there's not one guy who sticks out. It's everybody. We don't have the most experience. We don't have guys who've been around for so long. But we have to play together. We have to play with all guys on the court and on the bench. But I love Zaragoza. I love the fans' support. I love the organization. It's a home away from home for me. And I'm sure that you can see that through my social media. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is that I'm from Canada. My wife's from Australia, and we are in Zaragoza, and it feels like home, even though we're so far. So the city, I love, and obviously we have success playing basketball as well. So that's just the cherry on top.
Η ερώτηση προς τον Dylan ήταν αν αισθάνεται το start της ομάδας λίγο, γιατί είναι πολύ ενεργός στα social media με τη Θαραγώθα και εκπροσωπεύει και το σύλλογο. Και η απάντησή του είναι ότι ο ίδιος είναι από τον Καναδά, η γυναίκα του είναι από την Αυστραλία και κατά κάποιο τρόπο στη Θαραγώθα έχουν βρει το σπίτι τους, αισθάνονται σαν το δεύτερο σπίτι τους. Το γεγονός ότι καταφέρει και παίζει και μπάσκετ σε αυτή την πόλη που αγαπάει το κάνει ακόμα καλύτερο. Αλλά είπε, ως προς τον ρόλο του στην ομάδα, είπε ότι δεν θεωρεί ίδιος ότι υπάρχουν star στην ομάδα του. Είναι μια σελική προσπάθεια, ακόμα και οι παίκτες στον πάγκο συμβάλλουν στην επιτυχία της ομάδας και δεν αισθάνεται ο ίδιος ότι υπάρχει κάποιος παίκτης που ξεχωρίζει ή είναι πιο σημαντικός από τους άλλους.
Marcelinho, this one is for you. Do you think that the matchup against Zaragoza will be the battle of guards with you and Bruno Fittipaldo clicking so well together and Zaragoza having this guy next to you and Rodrigo San Miguel?
No, it's much more than that. Basketball, it's not about single matchup. This is a team sport, and it's not only 5 guys on the court. Everyone counts, even guys on the bench, guys that gets the last minutes. I think we're all here for one thing, and it's not about a personal battle. You have to play the game the way it's supposed to be. You don't have to take the game as like I said, like a personal battle. If you start thinking like this, the bigger are the chances of you losing the game. So I think Zaragoza is a very complete team, not only in the guard position. They have a lot of points, especially in the outside guys, and now with Linason playing a very high level, they have a very reliable source inside as well. So it's going to be a tough team to beat. They have, like I said, a lot of talent outside. A lot of guys can go easily to 15, 20 points, and we just can't let them play comfortable. If they play comfortable, they start hitting threes and playing the way they want it, and it's going to be really a nightmare. So we just got to keep focused on our game plan and stick to that.
Η ερώτηση ήταν για τον Μαρσελίνιο που φυσικά είναι point guard. Η ερώτηση ήταν για την περιφερειακή γραμμή για τους guard της Θαραγώθα. Ο ίδιος θεωρεί ότι δεν μπορείς να ξεχωρίσεις μερικές μόνο θέσεις, ότι η Θαραγώθα είναι μια ισορροπημένη ομάδα. Έχει πολλούς παίκτες που μπορούν να σου βάλουν 15-20 πόντους. Αν δεν είσαι προσιλωμένος να μείνεσαι συλλογικά σε όλες τις θέσεις. Και ουσιαστικά είπε ότι δεν μπορεί να μπει σε αυτή τη διαδικασία να σκέφτεται μόνο το δικό του αντίπολο στη θέση του point guard και πρέπει να σκέφτονται να εκτελέσουν το game plan όλη η ομάδα μαζί για να έχουν επιτυχία στο παιχνίδι.
Wojtek, you personally played a lot of times against AEK, some of the big games. What's the matchup that you least enjoyed? Who are the players that you had the hardest time either guarding or attacking?
We played a lot of games against AEK, you're right. A lot of them didn't end up well for us against AEK. So I had a lot of good players during those whole years, but I think the most memorable for us is the guys that we played against in the playoff series right before the AEK won the BCL. It was tough loss for us, and the team was really good, and they showed it up after with winning the whole championship. So it was probably the toughest matchup for us. We'll see, but I think the current AEK team is much better, but they have to show it on the court.
Η ερώτηση ήταν για τα σκληρότερα μάτσα που έχει δει ο Βόιτεχ και το Nymburk στη διοργάνωση. Ο ίδιος είπε ότι έχουν αντιμετωπίσει την ΑΕΚ διάφορες φορές στο παρελθόν, με μικρότερη ή μεγαλύτερη επιτυχία. Σίγουρα η πιο επώδυνη για αυτόν μνήμη είναι το 2018, όταν κέρδισαν το πρώτο παιχνίδι στην Αθήνα, μετά έχασαν το δεύτερο παιχνίδι στην Τσεχία. Και τότε η ΑΕΚ φυσικά συνέχισε και πήγε μέχρι το τέλος του δρόμου και κατέκτησε το κύπελλο. Πιστεύει ο ίδιος ότι η σημερινή ομάδα της ΑΕΚ είναι family εκείνης ομάδας που είχε κερδίσει τη διοργάνωση μετά, αφού απέκλεισε τον Nymburk και μετά.
There was one question in Greek for Nikos. You said that you're going to read.
Yes, there is a question from Christos Chaltas, the first Christos Chaltas at sdna.gr. Now, Nikos has already answered the first part of the question, which was about the peculiar situation that we're going to live in the court. But the second part of Christos' question is, and you can answer this in Greek, and if you want later reply in English as well. Θεωρείς πως το παιχνίδι με την Nymburk είναι αυτό που θα δώσει τον τόνο της συνολικής προσπάθειας στο Final 8?
Ναι, όταν παίζεις αυτού του είδους διοργανώσεις, είτε είναι Final 8 είτε Final 4, το πιο σημαντικό παιχνίδι είναι το πρώτο. Ξέρουμε την Nymburk, την αναλύουμε τις τελευταίες μέρες. Έχουμε και εμπειρία από προηγούμενα χρόνια αντίπαλός τους. Είναι μια πάρα πολύ καλή ομάδα, με τον ίδιο προπονητή τα τελευταία χρόνια, με παίχτες που ξέρουν πολύ καλά το παιχνίδι, με παίχτες που αποτελούν μέρος της εθνικής ομάδας της Τσεχίας, που είδαμε πόσο καλά τα πήγαν στο τελευταίο παγκόσμιο κύπελλο. Οπότε πρέπει να παίξουμε πολύ συγκεντρωμένα, πολύ πειθαρχημένα στο game plan, για να δώσουμε τον εαυτό μας την ευκαιρία να κερδίσουμε τον αγώνα.
If you want to answer the same question in English as well, because it would be nice for Wojtek to hear the nice things you said about him.
Οπότε να το πω στα αγγλικά κατευθείαν.
Στα αγγλικά.
Yeah, I think in this kind of tournaments, Final Four, Final Eight, the most important game is the first. You have to go one game at a time. So we know our opponent Nymburk very well. We know they have the same coach the last few years. I believe they have a very, very good team with many good players that some of them, they are big parts, like the guy next to me that he was in the member of the national team, that they had a great run in the last World Cup. We respect them. We have analyzed them the last few days a lot. We will try to stick to our game plan and understand that it will take a very good game from us to beat this team. That's the only focus we have right now.
Thank you, Nikos.
Dylan, you talked about your family, but you didn't mention one other member, your brother, who is also here.
Yeah.
Take us through your rivalry with your brother. Like, so many things happened in your careers. You're playing for Jamaica, he played for Canada. So is that another part of the rivalry, or what happened there?
You know, the first goal here is, you know, to win games. You know, we're focused on Tenerife, especially myself. But, you know, it is great to see my brother. You know, what he went through last year with his injury, and him able to come back and, you know, be 100% now. And then, you know, to see him in the same tournament as me, you know, it's great. You know, I grew up, he was my best friend growing up. We lived with each other and, you know, had battles, you know, on the driveway. And now for us to play on this big stage, you know, we don't know if we'll play against each other. We're taking it a day at a time, but, you know, just to be in the same hotel, be able to say hi to him. You know, I haven't seen him in over a year, and it's the longest it's ever been. So, you know, just having him here, you know, it's amazing. We're focused on the game. I'm focused on Tenerife, but, you know, having my brother here, it definitely is great for the soul.
Yes. Ο Ντίλαν είπε ότι φυσικά είναι και αδερφός του εδώ πέρα, γιατί παίζει στην Turk Telecom. Έχουν μια ιδιαίτερη ιστορία, γιατί ο ένας έπαιξε με την εθνική του Καναδά, ο άλλος με την εθνική της Τζαμάικα. Αλλά από εκεί και μετά, το πιο σημαντικό και ο λόγος για τον οποίο βρίσκονται εδώ πέρα είναι να κερδίσουν παιχνίδια και ο καθένας από τη μεριά του και για τη δικιά του ομάδα θα προσπαθήσει η ομάδα του να κερδίσει το κύπελλο. Και από εκεί και μετά, η δικιά του προσωπική ιστορία είναι λίγο στο δεύτερο πλάνο όσο είναι στην Αθήνα.
Finally, the last question is for Marcelinho. You made the All-Star 5 of the entire season. It's another personal accolade for you. What does it mean at this point of your career?
Well, it means first of all that the team made a great job. You know, I think individual awards are only worth it if, you know, the team succeed. And in this case, I think we did a very good job in the regular season and playoffs. Of course, we have also here another member, and I guess like any of these guys could be part of the teams. Also, we have Shermadini, which is my teammate as well. So that tells a little bit about our season, not only, of course, in BCL, but also in the domestic league. And, you know, I just try to keep focus on what I have to do. You know, I try to take care of my body as much as I can. I know I'm not a 20-year-old anymore, and every day it seems harder. You know, like as you get older, and there's like new guys coming in hungry, but you just got to keep hungrier than them. You know, you got to keep yourself updated, keep learning, and I guess, you know, basketball player, as long as you're happy and you enjoy what you do and you don't think you know everything already, you can always succeed. And that's what I try to do. I just try to stay in shape and my head clear and think one day at a time.
Can I just say before I translate, Marcelinho, that Nikos has been shaking his head in agreement with every word you said. So, η ερώτηση ήταν για τον Μαρσελίνιο, γιατί φυσικά είναι ένα μέλος της All-Star πεντάδας της διοργάνωσης που ανακοινώθηκε χθες, παρά την ηλικία του. Ο ίδιος είπε ότι δεν υπάρχει κάποιο μεγάλο μυστικό σε αυτή την επιτυχία. Αν υπάρχει ένα μυστικό, είναι ότι προσπαθεί να προσέχει τον εαυτό του, να προσέχει το σώμα του και να έχει την οτροπία ότι δεν τα ξέρει όλα, ότι μπορεί κάθε μέρα να μάθει κάτι καινούριο και να μείνει πιο πεινασμένος από τους νέους παίκτες που ούτως ή άλλως είναι πεινασμένοι. Gentlemen, thank you very much for the time you gave us here. I would like to wish each one and every one of you the best of luck. And above everything, I think it's a testament to your professionalism, the fact that you're here and we can play basketball again. So thank you and best of luck. This concludes our press conference for today. Thank you for watching. and enjoy the games.